Blanked out there for a minute.
Hello, everybody. C. Ray Brower here with Your Perfect Home. I have John McBride with us, and we are coming back to find out about his platform and what he's going to do to help this country. And I said country, but I meant District 9, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, John, glad to have you on. Always looking for new people to interview on this. I really appreciate you coming on to let everybody know exactly what it is you stand for and how you plan on helping us get back to a much more conservative attitude. How's that?
Sounds great.
Right on. So, since a lot of people don't know a lot about you, give us a little history. How did you end up here in Stockton? And
Well, I came here in 1989 as the first strength and still had football, and I worked there for 12 years. And then I had a 6-year gap where I just ran my own business. Then I got hired at St. Mary's High School, where all my children, 4 of my 5 children, ended up attending. And back in my own business again after being 13 years at St. Mary's High School. But I'm originally from Connecticut. I'm actually ancestors of our founders. My ancestors came here from England in 1633.
wow.
They founded my hometown, Wallingford, Connecticut, in 1670. One of my ancestors, Lyman Hall, is the signer of the Declaration of Independence. He's a grandson of one of the founders of my hometown. In my history are many Revolutionary War officers and actually clergy to the early settlers. And I like to share with people because it's true. I have the same passion and fire for freedom, to fight oppression, to fight tyranny that my ancestors had. And one of the things I see that's happening in this country is, the House of Representatives is supposed to be representing the people. And the House of Representatives has become so much where it really represents special interests and self-interest. And I'm actually learning that there's a lot of people that are actually afraid to speak up because their whole focus is getting reelected. So I plan on going into Congress to be a strong voice for America, to be a strong voice for California, and especially to be a strong voice for the district here, California 9.
Well, that is very, very nice. I know you have some a lot of faith in your background. The fact that you are directly linked to the Constitution, I feel, is a great thing. I think that a lot of the political atmosphere is definitely leaned away from actually what that Constitution means.
Your audio is breaking up for me.
Probably has to do with your cell phone connection, maybe.
Okay.
Hopefully. But what I was saying was that I really appreciate the fact that you have a strong faith and that you are going to represent District 9 in a very conservative, faithful manner.
Yes, sir. And that is the strong part of my background. For people who have been in the district a long time, I actually served on the board for Ken Owens Christian Community Concerns. I actually served 14 years on the board of the Stockton Pregnancy Help Center. I was on the founding board of the Stockton Leadership Foundation with Wayne Biebelheimer of Quail Lakes Baptist Church. And I also used to deliver groceries to certain areas through Helping Hands Ministry.
Oh,
So
very
I've been
nice.
very
You
involved.
worked with Helping
I've been
Hands.
involved in the community. Yeah, I've been involved in the community. But my main focus since I've been here has been training athletes of all levels. Professional athletes, high school athletes, college athletes. That's been a big focus of where I learned my leadership skills is through training athletes.
Very nice. Very nice. Any sport in particular or just athletes?
Well, I was a strength and conditioning coach. So I worked with athletes in all sports. Like when I got hired at UOP, we had 19 sports at that time, and I was the only person on the strength and conditioning staff. So I worked with all the sports. And one of the things about strength and conditioning is a lot of athletes, you're a basketball player, you're a golfer, you're a tennis player, you're a swimmer, and you love your sport, but you don't necessarily love being in the weight room. So part of the job of a strength and coach is actually getting young men and women to do something they really don't want to do to help them achieve their goals. And that's a key thing to going into politics, because it really is helping people to see the and getting them to do things maybe they don't want to get to the end result.
Yes, that is
And
really
another
the key
aspect
to
of strength and
everything.
conditioning, right? And another aspect of strength and conditioning is they're the head football coaches athletes, they're the baseball coaches athletes. I am a servant to the head coach, and I'm a servant to the athletes, and that's a big part of where my training ground has come to go into politics. And the last thing that I know that this is critical for America right now, and we see what's happening. For example, if you follow, he came in and changed the attitude. Once you change the attitude, then it changed the culture. And we have an attitude where we accept lying and corruption in Congress, and that needs to end. We accept that our representatives really don't do anything for us, and we accept that and we tolerate it. And that's another thing in coaching that we always talk about is what a coach tolerates is what you end up with. And at some point, the American people need to say, we're not tolerating with the establishment anymore. We're not going to tolerate with the way Washington is done anymore. We need to make the changes to make America a better place for we the people.
I would agree wholeheartedly. Cooperation on all levels definitely is much more productive to get things done than allowing lying, cheating, and backbiting on both sides, because not one side or the other is really doing any better for us, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
There's so much
So,
infighting, and I'm a big believer in the biblical principle of a house divided cannot stand. Abraham Lincoln had quoted that, but it's actually from the Bible.
right.
And we need greater unity, but to have that unity, you have to find common ground. And right now, there really isn't any common ground. It's so polarized, and there's a good chance that that polarization is something that will divide the nation completely apart if we don't stand up and bring unity within the bodies of our federal government. And again, there's power in unity. And that's one of the things that I even see just on the local level, how disunited the different factions within local politics are in the big picture of people running for office.
Yes, very, very true. It is a sad state of affairs that we have got ourselves into with career politicians.
Yes, sir. And that's another issue that term limits is a big thing. Um, when people get in office, it becomes almost from day one time to run for the next election, almost from the beginning. And if they knew that at some point it was coming to an end, whether that's 8 years, 12 years, that's all up for discussion, debate. But when somebody can be in Congress for 30 or 40 years, they're so entrenched in the system that nothing really gets done. Nothing good anyhow how it gets done.
Yeah.
It's all their self-interest and the special interests that benefit from that.
And things hidden inside the bill that you think you're voting for this, but there's all this other stuff that's buried, and we never hear about the stuff that's buried. I know when this country started,
right, and
the job was a per diem job, and you were expected to do your regular job as well as take care of things, and it wasn't a career. You had your farm, you had your blacksmith shop, you had whatever your business was, and how you took care of your family was still your business and your thing. And you didn't get paid a salary, you got paid per diem. When you were there,
correct,
you were paid. When you weren't, you went back to work, and then you served your term and went back to work. It was time for new blood to come in. And if we don't keep rotating and getting new blood in anything, if we don't have the ability to see new ideas and learn something new every day and pass that on to the people below us and above us, then we are stagnant.
right.
That's a bad thing.
Sort of related to that, and it's now, for lack of a better word, water over the dam. The Senate was originally set up to represent the states, and you didn't elect your senators. They were appointed by your state. So even as your governor of your state changed, that would ultimately change who represented you in the day. And it's wields too much power on Congress today, because originally it was one representative per 40,000 people. That was how it was set up. 10,000 congressmen today. But if you think in terms of 10,000 congressmen, none of them are going to wield a lot of power. And that's a factor. But now we have just 435 Congress people. And I'm not saying it should change, by the way. But when you realize, our district, approaching 1 million people, it's not quite there, but it's approaching 1 million people. And one person ends up with a lot of power when you're standing in for 1 million people. But it also is what makes running for office so incredibly expensive. And the whole goal becomes actually doing their job in the House of Representatives.
Right.
No, I'm not sure how that can change, but term limits is a big part that will restrict the power that congressmen end up wielding, because it's put in the hands of few, and it needs to be spread out over time, or maybe go back to the foundings. Who knows? I don't know, but we're in a world of hurt right now. That's for sure.
Yeah, in all fronts, unfortunately, like we were talking, unity and bringing people together, and it seems that everywhere they're trying to divide us, put us into categories so that we feel either oppressed or superior to somebody else, which just doesn't work. I constantly say, I don't believe in the golden rule. I believe in the platinum rule. And the platinum rule is to treat you how you want to be treated, not how I want to be treated, because how I want to be treated is completely different than you. We're all different. That's what makes this world go round. And if we try to treat people the way they want to be treated, there is no prejudice. There is no backbiting. There is no problem, because you are actually reaching out to somebody and nurturing them the way they want to be nurtured, treating them the way they want to be treated.
And on that note, one of the differences, and this is one of the things that I talk about when I'm talking with people, oftentimes they don't realize how much freedom we've lost. And we start sharing with them things that have happened just in my lifetime, in the sense of losing freedom. And what you're touching on with the platinum rule is a little bit different in the sense it's free will. So you have the free will to live how you want, so on and so forth. And theoretically, you shouldn't be able to force your free will on me, and I shouldn't be force my free will on you. But we should all be able to have freedom from tyranny and oppression, to spend our own money. You know, that's one of the things with today. I'm sorry, taxes and inflation are both theft. And people don't understand that the federal income tax was ruled unconstitutional twice, not once, but twice. And yet we still have a national income tax. And so there's things like that, our founders were adamant about not having an income tax, because they looked at it as taking away from somebody's hard work. And it was a disincentive to hard work. And then when you do have, and it's both parties, Donald Trump made it a point that, hey, I know the system because I use this system, right? And that the people that are super rich don't pay any taxes because they find so many loopholes with their limited liability corporations and things like that. Now, right there, that just probably hindered me a lot of fundraising. But, that's the truth. We should be able to, we should be able to get our money. I don't think there's anything that the federal government can do with your money better than you can. And knowing how you can spend your money better for your interest, and the government can't do that. And I'm a believer, technically, number one, defense of the nation. And yes, that includes a border wall. Defending the nation is, one of the main objectives of the federal government. And the other one is infrastructure. Those are the two focuses our government was given from the beginning. Now, in the early days, the founders did build schools. The first textbook in the schools was the Bible. Now we have separation in church and state, and it's next to impossible to get the Bible taught in school, though it is legal. Most people would reject that, but that was the textbook provided by the government in the early schools. So it's kind of interesting when you start seeing how things have 250-year history.
Very, very interesting to look at it when you can't stand up and say the Pledge of Allegiance or pray in school, but you can bring a drag queen in so they can do a drag show.
And I think about that, and some of the things that children today are exposed to that clearly border on, if not overtly, sexual abuse and child abuse through what they're exposed to in the schools. And as we see what's happening throughout California, when parents are standing up to the school boards, now the state is trying to fight back against parents with the bills they're trying to get passed here. And I don't know how to say this politically correctly, but one of the rules I see in Congress is, everybody's heard the expression, how California goes, there goes the nation. And a big part of what I see is keeping what's happening in California from going to the rest of the nation, because the things that are happening here are really destructive for our society. Family is the foundation of civilization. And as we allow the family to be undermined and destroyed, it's destroying the civilization. And back to your issue of the division is intentional. When you talk, you learn that we're not that different, but they try to split us apart, because once you're divided, now you're not going to fight together for victory. You're going to be fighting against each other. Well, next thing you know, you're overwhelmed. There's an illustration, you've probably seen it at some point in time. If you take a jar and fill the jar with red ants and black ants, which are enemies, and you just let the jar sit there, there's no fighting between the red ants and the black ants. But if you shake the jar, the red ants and black ants will fight against each other. And one of the things the American people need to find out is who's shaking our jar.
Yep.
Within the American people is, quote unquote, somebody shaking the jar.
And why are they shaking the jar?
Again, there's power in unity. And if we're disunited, and you're well aware that, there is a globalist agenda. And if there's enough infighting, then there's a reason to bring in tighter controls to control us, which is what true agenda is the globalist agenda, whether it's your lifetime and my lifetime, or whether it's more forthcoming than that, remains to be seen. But that is clearly the agenda is to have, as George Bush the First said, a new world order. And from a biblical perspective, that new world order is not a good thing. Exactly.
And whether you believe biblically or just spiritually, the control that the New World Order wants is definitely not in anybody's best interest other than the New World Order.
Correct. And those are the freedoms that are, if we go to a digital currency, in essence, even the rich will have no power. How they spend their money will be predetermined by the people that control the digital currency. And when you start explaining that,
oh Lord!
Somebody called on my phone here.
There we go. You had a call coming in. Is that what knocked you out?
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's all right.
So anyhow, lost my train of
thought. You have to turn your camera back on, John.
But so. Oh, I see it. There we go. Sorry about that.
You're back.
Are we back?
Yeah, you're back. Oh, no. You're frozen. Now you're
Sorry about that.
It's all right.
Here we go.
Technical difficulties. They happen every once in a while. We just got to live through them.
Sorry about that.
It's all good.
Sorry about. I'm sorry. Are we all set here?
I think you're back.
Is it live?
You're live. Oh, went away again.
Somebody from an Arizona number keeps calling me. 5 times they've called me. So yeah.
I had somebody calling me on my side, except I'm not using my phone for the camera. Maybe they're after both of us.
Phoenix, Arizona number, and I don't know who it is. So, but anyhow, I don't know how to shut the phone part of it off, but I don't know if I can. I'm back for now.
Well, good. We'll see if we can't get
Are we
on
back?
through it. We just got a couple more minutes. What's the next event that you're having where people can come talk to you live?
So the next event tomorrow morning, I'm going to be at the San Joaquin Conservatives meeting. Somebody is intentionally, I think that's like 8 times I'm in from the same number.
Well,
So I
I'll tell you
suspect
what,
that
John.
somebody's trying to do that, believe it or not.
I'll tell you what. You go ahead and send me
So
a text.
my next event is. Sorry about that. Hopefully, I just took the call and told them not to call me back.
Perfect. We don't have any audio now, John.
It's because they just called me some vile names when they call back into the call. So somebody does not like that I'm doing this call.
Unfortunately, that's
kind of
what
interesting.
happens when we put our face in front of the public.
I don't know,
Ray.
That just.
Since they are not going to let us finish this up, John, I'm going to go ahead and sign us off. I will get the information for your next event and I will publish it on the platforms that we have been running live on. Everybody, go out and be the sunshine in somebody's rainy day. John McBride, thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate you and appreciate the fact that you were here. I will post your next event on everywhere that we are at. Thanks again, everybody. Remember, see Ray to find your perfect home and go out and be the sunshine in somebody's rainy day.